Morning girls, welcome back to Let's Play. This is card 37 in the range. Today I'm going to teach you how to do some layering with all your leftover scrap elements to create a cute new interesting background with a little bit of dry brushing and some spraying. Alright, so we are going to cover the entire card, so you can use any card that you like. It doesn't really matter because you're not going to see the card underneath once we are done. And now what I want you to do is go through all your stash. You'll see over here I have got little stones, I've got buttons, I've got a few little metal stars I found, I've got some beads, and I also managed to find some metal embellishments. And what you are going to do with these is you are going to be sticking these onto your base of your card, and then we will be painting it all white. So I have used, I don't know how you actually pronounce this, call it B6000 glue. You can use Tombow, you can use your glue gun, it's totally up to you. I found this is quite a strong glue, you get it from bead shops normally. So I've used this. It does take a while to dry though. So if you do it, please take note you are going to have to wait a little while for it to dry. Okay, I have also found some ultra boards in my stash. I've used that for the center frame. You do need something solid just to have a starting point. All right, so for this one, I'm going to use that frame. And I am literally just going to be adding all my pieces onto my background. So start off with your anchor point and then moving onto your buttons. You are then going to add, you can add some buttons, you can add some of your metals. So you'll see this metal, I have actually just glued it on as is, like so. And you're going to carry on until your entire thing is full. With the little sand stones, what I've done was I just made a little blob of the glue, and I have then just sprinkled my stones, tap them in. You can just tap that off, don't waste stones, and you can have a look and see what that looks like. All right, so you're going to finish decorating that. Don't do too much, but do top corner, bottom corner, and then do your frame in the middle. So it looks similar to that. And then you are going to leave that for a while to dry. I also added some string around the bottom just to add a bit of texture. Okay, I have pre-made a card that has had time to dry. Otherwise, you're going to sit here and wait for paint to dry. So this is what it's going to look like when you are done. So you can see I've got my stones, I've got some beads, I've got my string, and I've got some buttons and metals on my card. All right, so what we're going to do once that is all done is you are then, I'll just have a scrap piece of paper to work with. I have used white gesso. You can use any white paint. Just make sure it's thick enough that it can get into all the pieces of your card. All right, and you are then squash the paint into all these pieces just to make sure that everything is covered, and then you can neaten it up afterwards. All right, so don't be shy, don't go too thick, otherwise you're going to end up with a big mess. But do try and make sure that everything is covered. We're going to have a little bit of drying time on this with the heat gun, so I'm sorry, you'll just have to watch that for a bit. Okay, so there we go. Try and once it's all your pieces are covered, then just try and neaten it up a little bit. You'll see your card is still sticking through. That's fine. We are going to give it a second layer just to help set it. Okay, so there we go. You can see it is now all dry. Not all dry, all covered. And what we're going to do is just using your heat gun, I want you to heat set it. Alright, so while you're busy waiting for this, let me just tell you what next we're going to do. You are going to give it a second coating of white paint. That will be just to cover all the elements. And then we are going to do a little bit of dry brushing. I have used pink paint for that, and then I've gone with some black ink. and I'll show you how to dry brush with ink. Everybody thinks you can only dry brush with paint. You can actually dry brush with ink as well, which is quite nifty. Okay, you'll see here where it is thick, it starts to bubble. Don't get it to bubble too much. It does add some texture, it depends what you're looking for. My first card had done quite a bit of texture, so it was a bit of a mess. Okay, alright. Okay, so that is our card. This one's still a bit wet and sticky. But what I want to do now is just lightly, not too much of this. And you'll see it will cover the majority. You don't have to cover it all. It is a card challenge. So if you see a little bit of your card sticking through, that is not a problem. Okay, so there we go. That is maybe one more, a little bit more. Okay, so there we go. Just try and get into the little corners. And that is now your painting done. I'm just going to give that another light coat again, just to set it of the heat gun. Alright, so you're going to go through your stash of words. You need to find a word for your card, a cute little quote or a saying. I also went through my flower stash and I found a pink flower because I went with pink paint. Remember, this is your card. You can use any color that you like. Don't feel limited to mine. I just wanted to go with white for a change. I know we've done this technique, a similar technique before, but then we used black and we used foil and paints. I don't want to use that today. I just want to show you how to do some dry brushing. Okay, so that is obviously the longer you let it dry, the better. So if you can, go make yourself a cup of coffee. This is still quite tacky, but I'm going to do it now anyway for what we're busy with. Alrighty, so that is your card. There is our original, just to show you what we are starting out with. So now we have a base. Sorry, I'm just cleaning my brush. I've run out of brushes. And that is your, everything is covered and it's actually quite pretty. Okay, I have then gone with pink paint. My pink paint is actually dried out, which is horrible, but I only need a touch of paint. So I'm just working out of the lid. And I am taking 90% of the color off. I'm then taking my paintbrush. And if you see, it picks up all those awesome shadows on my card. So all those little nooks and crannies. All right, so you can go darker in some corners, you can go lighter in others, just to see how awesome, look how nice that picks up all those shadows. All right, so you can decide how dark or how light you want that to be. I'll wipe off the rest of that. Then I am going to go with, I have just used black soot. And what I'm going to do, just on a piece of plastic, is just run it down. Squash it down, I mean. Okay, now I'm then picking it up with my paintbrush. Again, I'm taking off the majority of the color. This was just tissue paper from a Christmas present. I had lying in my dustbin. And here you can now see, if you bring in that black, it just highlights your shadows. Okay, so that gives you a really nice highlighted effect, and it's just dry brushing, guys. Don't go thick, you just want it nice and light. All right, so that is your dry brushing done. I have actually added a splash of silver, so if you have a look, I hope you can see it there. I've used Glimmer Mist by K-Craft. Remember, when you shake it, make sure that your ball starts making a noise inside, to make sure that that is actually mixed properly, and just only one spritz. All right, there we go. Quick and easy. That just gives it, when it dries, it looks all gray now, but when that dries, it actually comes out a beautiful silver color. It's just to add another layer of texture. It is optional. You really don't have to do it if you don't want to. And then the last thing that we are going to do is we are going to have, I found some old, I'm just going to use one of the leaves, flowers in my stash. Before I do that though, the last thing I want to do is just with a little bit of gloss, I've just used my clear gloss by Anita's, is just to cover my frame. You don't have to do the entire frame, you can just do pieces. Okay, and there we go. And I have in my stash, I just found my translucent glitter. You can use any color glitter that you want. I'm just going to do it in this little tray, and I'm just going to add glitter onto my gloss. I like adding glitter onto the gloss while it's wet because then it actually sinks. Just blow off all the excess, sorry. And it sinks into I'm dropping stuff, sorry girls. Okay, I'm just brushing off that extra glitter where it's not supposed to be, and you can see, look how beautiful and sparkly that looks. All right, so that gives it a nice sparkle glitter effect. Okay, then I am going to add a flower. I have just taken a small piece of gauze. It's just normal medical gauze. And I just want a tiny piece. Okay, it was already cut, so I'm just gonna, okay, this one is really not working out very well. That'll go there, and I'm going to add my bloom on top of it. Okay, use some double-sided tape or glue for that. And these are words I found in my stash. It was celebrate words. So I'm just going to quickly cut out a pink word because my card is pink. And that, you can ink it if you want to, or you can just adhere that to your card. All right, I'm going to stick it down, but just to show you. So that is what our end result looks like. I hope you guys enjoyed making the card. Please remember to add it under the correct post on Scrap and Sew and not under the video. And I cannot wait to see what you girls create. Have a lovely week, and please all of you stay safe. Thank you girls. Bye.